thank you everybody for being here. I have August 12th, City of Laredo Transportation and Traffic Safety Advisory Committee. Item number 1, call to order, roll call and declaration of quorum. Adrian Dominguez present, Mr. Armando Garza, Mr. Fred Dickey,
Present.
Mr. Jeffrey Puig,
Present.
Mr. Ciro Gonzalez,
Present.
and Mr. Adrian Lavia. Unfortunately, we do not have quorum today. We do not have quorum. I'm going to go ahead and move on just for the sake. I know that we have some individuals that have signed up to speak. So item number 2, general citizens communication. Ms. Alcorta, do we have the names of the individuals that signed up, please?
Yes, we do. We have Mr. Juan Javier Martinez.
Mr. Martinez, go ahead, sir. Mr. Martinez, before you begin, just some notes. We have 3 minutes per speaker. Please keep everything, professional, no derogatory comments or anything. And of course, we're here to help you. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. You have the floor.
As you know, my name is Javier Martinez. I'm from Goodyear Commercial, so we're located right behind ABF on 11802 Mines Road. The issue that we're having is the traffic, especially lately, the bridge has been shutting down more consistently. Over the past few months, that bridge has shut down, causing major traffic delays. We're talking about 30 minutes to 45 minutes just to get from Killam to where my store is. This is creating a lot of havoc in my business and the actual, revenue stream that we're able to get. We've lost quite a bit of money. We've lost anywhere in the range from 50 to 100,000 in just this alone.
Whoa.
The thing is that my major concern is safety, because now it's to the point where 20 to 30 minutes to get to where I'm at. That's not just myself. It's actually if an ambulance needed to get there, if any kind of emergency personnel needed to reach my site. We know the drivers notoriously I've been working in the transportation industry quite a while. You have sleep apnea, high blood pressure. There's a lot of symptoms that come with driving just because you're sitting down all day. So if any of the drivers that come into my store, or even if my technicians were to have an issue, emergency personnel would not be able to actually access them in time. As we know, there are conditions such as a stroke and a heart attack that minutes are everything. And that right there, they wouldn't be able to get in, let alone get out if something were to happen. And it's no fault to the city. It's more just everything that's happening on the bridge on both sides.
Yes.
So I definitely understand it. What we request is some accommodation, whether it be a sign, an enforceable violation, or even better yet, a back road, an access road, just to get in and out of these businesses, because the businesses are there, and it's not just a 1 and 2 mom and pop shop. We're talking large businesses where there are a lot of people that are there that are affected by this. We're just asking for just some assistance to help the traffic not only flow, but we understand it's at a standstill. So what we're asking for is just some way to get in and out safely, because even if they do leave a spot for us to go, there's already been multiple accidents where people are getting injured because, you're trying to get past an 18-wheeler. You can't see to your left. It's a major blind spot. And drivers, sometimes they're just saying, go ahead. And before you know it, your car is totaled and there's nothing you can do about it because the insurance doesn't really want to help out in that case. This is something that really, the profits is one thing that we can leave alone. These are major corporations that fine, we're getting hit hard in the dollar amount, but the lives that are potentially at danger and at risk are really what's concerning for us. So we want to make sure to reach out, see what we can do, whether it be on the side of the city, if something we can help organize. I know it's a team effort, that we just want to make sure to get everybody home safe, get in safe, and as well, the business is something that has to be running as well. Mines Road area is notorious for trailer traffic. We just want to make sure that everybody can get in and out safely, and these businesses can run and operate as they intended to when they purchase their area, when they purchase their site there on site.
Yes, sir. I have a question. Is there a certain time frame where you're seeing, or is it just a constant? Is it an all-day thing, or?
It is something that has been. It used to be where maybe once or twice a week for 30 minutes you'd have this problem, but it has become a consistent problem throughout the day. So you can't really program when it is, because it would be great for us to know, okay, well, between 1 and 5 or this time. But sometimes it's really just going to depend, and we figured, we kind of narrowed that it's something going on with the bridge, because all the traffic is to the side and everybody's trying to turn. So I know that about right now is when the city, the PD will go, the border, I don't know what they are, the
PD.
port police. They'll be there redirecting traffic because they already know everything's backed up. But it'll start as soon as maybe 10 a.m. sometimes, and it'll be throughout the day on there and consistent. And that's the problem, that once it stops, it's a standstill. And some drivers, they accommodate, they won't block the driveway, but a lot of drivers, they'll be looking at you and they're still gonna be
They're gonna block
pushing through.
Correct, yes, sir, yes, sir. Okay. Any comments, concerns from the committee?
I think, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add
Yes,
something.
please, go ahead, sir.
I don't know if you guys know where this is at, but it corners or dead ends where Milo and Mines Road is. So there is a traffic light right there. And if you go on 11802 Mines Road where they are located at, they have the driveway. So you have those trailers backed up. When you get Mexico backed up, and they're bringing all these trailers around, so you have them all backed up. And I know Mr. Castillo will touch to the fact of that, or speak to that, and where their drivers are backed up, and Goodyear's customers are backed up in line and can't cut in because they won't allow them, because the driveway is blocked. So that's where it's at, right on that corner. So, and I would say the main concern here is when that trailer, when the traffic backs up, when the bridge is shut down throughout the day, that's when it's causing
when it's-
chaos, yeah.
Yes, and if I may add, there's even to the point there, as Cito mentioned, there is an actual light. However, there's even times where, I mean, there's a light, there shouldn't be anything blocking, and you'll have trailers that, you know, they took the red light to turn and everything just stays blocked because they don't respect the light so much, and that's with PD and everybody around, so it creates a major, you know, it creates a major concern, and it makes it even bigger setback and everything. So, you know, to his point, it's once the border shuts down, or once anything happens with the border going southbound, we're at a standstill that can take anywhere 20, 30 minutes just to get from one block away.
Wow, okay. Mr. Dickey, go ahead.
The other thing, of course, safety's first, and,
Yes.
but you know, that's a revenue stream for sales tax revenue. If all these businesses, that's sales tax.
Right.
That's ad valorem tax. If, I mean, it's a contagion. It's, you know,
Yeah, it
It
really
it
is.
affects,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it hits everybody.
Yes.
And I wonder
Yeah,
what the options are. I mean, does anybody know what options might be?
That
out
was
there?
my next question, possible options. I mean, maybe some signage or maybe some more law enforcement personnel out there. I mean, that's something that we can definitely have a conversation as a committee and make some recommendations.
Right.
But absolutely, yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I don't know if, and we have Laredo PD here, and Mr. McGee also asked him, would this be an enforceable offense? If they were to put signage up, you know, at the beginning of the driveway and maybe at the end, which it's a good, I mean, a trailer comes in and out really easy. It's, I don't know how many feet it is, maybe you all can tell us how wide that space is, but if they were to put signage there, is it an enforceable offense if they do block it?
Correct.
And if it is an enforceable offense, who would enforce it? Is that PD? Who would do that?
To that point, and the best part is that the majority, I want to say 99% of the traffic that blocks this is commercial traffic.
Commercial
So
traffic.
every one of these vehicles has a US dot number that you could trace down to the business. So if it is an enforceable offense, there is a way to track down. Maybe you don't get the individual, but you find the company, and that's where it hurts.
Okay, but then another question. If, we had signage, or if the city would do an ordinance, say, hey, you know, if you block driveway or you block an intersection, we're gonna give you a ticket, and it, you know, it's not be a chicken feed ticket, you know, they say, excuse, más de los trancazos en la bolsa duelen más.
Right. Something substantial, yes.
That's something I was thinking too, because if you give them a little $500 fine, these companies are gonna say,
Here you
let it go.
It's like the train.
Yeah. So once you start really putting in something that, you know, you put some commas on it, then it becomes, okay, this is a big offense. Especially companies that do transfers. Those companies right there, they get hit hard. They'll make sure their drivers stay in line, something of that sort. That would be a really big help, because the driveway is big enough to where, you know, a car can come out, and if the driveway is completely empty and we're good, we still have a chance to actually make the turn and still be able to get some vision on the blind spot. However, it's still kind of iffy on that one.
Yes, sir.
So,
Okay.
What I might suggest is that you maybe talk with the traffic department to give them an indication of what movements are is it your vehicles exiting, trying to go northbound? What is the problem that you all are experiencing that's creating the most safety concern for you all?
Okay.
And address those with the traffic department so so that then they might be able to look at what some suggestions or options might be to improve your function at that intersection.
I completely agree. The only thing to where it becomes tricky because once that is blocked and it's at the border, you know, if they shut down the border, everybody's waiting in line and it essentially becomes not a movement problem, but it's just stagnant and everybody's waiting on the border, whether the systems come up, systems go down, anything on that. So
Some other considerations might be to approach your neighbors for additional cross-access through their properties. I know that you all appear to be landlocked within the area with one way in, one way out, but you do have neighbors, maybe we're trying to look at obviously some solutions that might work for you, and we recognize and see that there is a problem, so we're trying to look through all the options here.
yeah, no, that would be definitely something because the in and out, there's really nothing. It's all monte around us. Would be an option as well. An access road going in and out, even if it's just 2 lanes to get in and out, that would help us tremendously because we wouldn't be interrupting the flow of traffic, but at the same time, we have easy access in and out of the facilities, and as well, anybody could get in and out. And that would-
Is this drive a public street or is it a private drive?
It is a
Private drive.
It's a private drive.
It's a private drive.
yes.
And there's signs.
That dead ends into Mines Road, right? The entrance into their facility, if you're looking west, it's to the right, so there's no ingress or egress. There's no way in or out unless you go through that one entrance. And that's why they had mentioned, so what if that light opens up and they were to put a private road to go in and out from there on that street off Milo? They're turning left anyway. Their trailers are having to turn right to come all the way around to get in line to go 1 block off the Milo interchange. So, yeah, it's pretty, like you said, it was kind of landlocked there.
Yes.
But they are the owners of that lot that is dead end to. So, something to look at.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Those are
Thank you very
definitely
much.
concerns, and we'll definitely look into it. Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Thank you. Ms. Alcorta, who the second speaker, please?
Yes, we have Mr. Orlando Costilla.
Mr. Costilla? Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Well, my name is Orlando Garcia, and I am the terminal manager for ABF Freight, and we actually share the property with Goodyear. So all the issues that they're having, we have the same issues. And like Cito mentioned, the property for ABF, the Milo, our property extends all the way to the front where the traffic light is at. So you ask for solutions, that would be one solution right there, because that property is right ours, so it's gonna hit directly to the light, which would give us a little bit more access to the area. And the same thing, we are an LTO company, so we have drivers that are sometimes waiting in line there to get in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, sometimes hours. Like, we have had instances where the bridge shuts down and we have drivers waiting out there from all the way from 8 p.m., 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Sometimes they even gotten back to 11. And you gotta understand, these drivers have hours of service. They cannot drive more than 14 hours a day. We've had instances where we had to go send another guy that's on the dock to pick up the driver because he couldn't drive anymore because he ran out of hours waiting in line. And like he mentioned before, like they have, everybody has their health issues and stuff like that. So staying in line for that many hours is only detrimental to them and also the other drivers. Like in other words, they're not thinking as straight as they would if they were fresh minds.
Correct,
So
yes, sir.
that is a safety concern. And like I said, we have had instances where we had to go send another driver to pick up the other driver because they couldn't drive anymore because they had to stop where they were at.
Yes, sir. No, that's-
And like I said, and as far as money is concerned, well, we have the same issue where we lose a lot of money because sometimes, well, we're paying these drivers, they're union, we're a union company, so we pay them good wages, and most of the time they're on overtime, so we're losing on that revenue. But not only that, we also sometimes fail on deliveries because since we're an LTO company, our drivers have to come back and get another route, and sometimes it takes them 45 minutes to get to the terminal, and then it takes them 45 plus minutes to get out. And I do want to say, like, I think my drivers do an excellent job because it's very hard to get out of there. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes trying to drive an 18-wheeler out of that. If you're familiar with the area, you don't want to be, like, in other words, a driver trying to get out of that area. It's hard to get out on your personal vehicle, and then with an 18-wheeler, it's a little bit more difficult. But that's, like, everything that he said is the same thing we have, and we share the same entrance. It's actually ABS properties, that entrance that we have currently. If we can move the entrance to the Milo, that would be something that we can consider where we can have easier access because there's a light there. I don't know if there's, with the technology that we have nowadays, where it be sensory activated and stuff, it cannot be like a standard light where it goes on and off, right? It has to be like kind of like sensory activated. Whenever there's a person out here, then it will turn green for maybe a minute or so people can go in and out.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Because
sir.
that way it doesn't disrupt the flow of the traffic. Obviously, the best thing to do is figure out why we have so many shutdowns on the bridge and try to figure out how we can avoid them. I know we were trying to route them back to Colombia, but it seems that most of it goes to Wall Street Bridge.
Through Wall Street. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, those are valid concerns. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they are.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add some,
Yes, sir,
just
go
some
ahead.
clarification. When he talks about LTL, LTL stands for lesser than truckload. So his drivers are not long-haul road drivers that drive here to Dallas or somewhere. They are local pickup and delivery. So when he says that they're an LTL carrier, they have multiple shipments on one trailer, making multiple deliveries. So if they're in line, not able to get to somewhere to make a delivery, it has a domino effect of late deliveries and a costly effect on customer retention.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Mr. McGee, is this something that we can look at a little bit further? Maybe have a study, or maybe just kind of any recommendations on your part?
Actually, yes, for the record, Danny McGee, traffic director. It's being looked at.
Great.
If you remember, last meeting we had the presentation about what Texas gonna do.
That's right.
So
Yes.
they have quite a bit of investment. It's gonna change that area quite a bit. I'll have to look to see when that goes in construction. It should be relatively soon. And then there's discussions going on about the breakdowns in the traffic, into Mexico.
Yes.
Those are being looked at.
Great.
So
Great.
they are being looked at from different angles.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hopefully this resolves. Yeah, I kind of feel that we're kind of at the mercy of the bridge system
Yeah,
in
we
a
are.
sense,
Exactly
but
Exactly
yes.
right.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. We will examine this. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Appreciate it, guys.
If I may approach for the record.
Yes, please, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Committee members, Ricardo Gonzalez, Deputy Chief, Laredo Police Department. Sitting here, listening to a lot of concerns that were raised, a lot of things that we've been looking at for years. Obviously, they're complicated because it affects in many different ways. One of the major ones that they're seeing that really pretty much exacerbates all these problems that we see is the constant shutdown of, on the Mexican side of vehicles, commercial vehicles crossing south. It's become a concern because it's become a daily occurrence, and it's not something that happens for a few minutes, it's hours, and those hours really impact that whole area. We're talking a great footprint, and it requires a lot of resources from our end, and other departments to be able to just manage it, to be safe. Doesn't mean that we manage it to correct it, because obviously the problem is in a whole different country. So as we speak, I believe there's been a meeting that's being held with Mexican authorities to address the same issue. What we understand before this meeting took place is that they were having issues with their systems. So hopefully it's something that we get good feedback that they're correcting it, and we haven't seen it the last couple of days. Hopefully it's something that they already addressed, because we've been using all our available resources from management to our federal partners, even our local politicians, and be able to connect with them and open up those lines of communication to be able to communicate when, because there's some things that they can't control,
Right.
but if they can let us know when it's happening, so we can be ahead of the game and be able to address some of the issues, especially something that they see, and be able to clear up a lot of the intersections. That's another thing that we were looking at. Something that was addressed or brought up was the blocking of intersections, which is very common, very unsafe. We're launching a huge campaign. We're gonna be doing a lot of enforcement. We like to address it with not only enforcement, but as Mr. McGee says, education and engineering.
Yes.
So there's huge projects with TxDOT that we've been sitting in, that hopefully in the near future, it's gonna take some time, but in the near future is gonna alleviate a lot of the problems. But in the meantime, we'll use our best weapon, which is education. We've been putting up a lot of boards, letting them know that it's a violation. We're gonna put up some more permanent signage, and we're also gonna have personnel addressing it. So when these things happen, that we have large vehicles coming at a standstill, and a lot of them don't like to leave those intersections open because they
They
pay
cut in.
for somebody to cut in, right? They don't
Yes.
wanna stand in the back of the line 2 miles away. They block. So one of the main things that we do when we go out there, when we have these problems, is to keep those intersections open for the safety of the public and close down overpasses where you're gonna have a high-speed vehicle coming to standstill traffic, which we've seen cause problems. So that's a little overview of what's happening. They're being addressed. Unfortunately, I know it's frustrating for them. We like to work with them as best as possible, but some of the things that are out of control. Doesn't mean that we're not attacking them, that we're not on it, but we're working with everything we have as much as we can.
Thank you.
So any ideas from the committee or even members of the public, we're all ears, whatever we can help with. And we'll try to visit with the businesses that brought up the issues, those particular issues. Maybe there's something we can do in the meantime.
Thank you very
Mr. Chairman, I
much.
have a
Yes, please,
question.
go ahead, sir.
So the long-term fix is, they make that private road, we make the light, that's long-term. Short-term, would they be allowed to put signage? Is that something they need to go through the city? Is that, how do they go about putting that sign that says, alto, no para, no, however you say it in Spanish, to block a driveway?
Well, I'm familiar with the area, but I'm not very familiar with their particular situation,
Okay.
where the property,
Yes, sir.
the private property lines and the public right-of-way is. I would need to visit with them, see what
Okay.
the problem can be done through the traffic division and so forth with council.
Okay.
Anything that we need to do within our purview or within our
Right.
jurisdiction. Anything that's private, it's gonna get complicated because we really don't have any enforcement power. And I think they're talking about maybe enforcement, but that doesn't mean we can talk other alternatives that we've. Or if it's, if they see the problem only occasionally, well, now it's become a way of life.
Every day,
time that
every day.
the system comes down, goes down on the Mexican side, what we can do is we can include them to address. And if that intersection is one of those, we'll just include it. It's just a matter of manpower.
Yes, sir.
Because it might not need permanent signage because it's not a permanent problem. And like I said, that's why I need to talk to these gentlemen a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
Not at the Band-Aid, we're looking into
Sure.
making sure that on the Mexican side, everything's up and running. And if there's gonna be issues, they let us know ahead of time. That way we can deploy personnel where we need it and prevent problems. And also the infrastructure, hopefully, that in the next few years, we're gonna see some relief as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
Reports that are having the same problem.
So sometimes when the system goes down, it's a nationwide, you'll get a text from the government, or I get one, and it tells you it's a nationwide thing, so that system went down. The majority, these last 2 times it was nationwide, where all the percent of the time it's just Nuevo Laredo. Right.
90% of times.
Yeah, the only 2 times I've heard, 3 times, but there's actually a committee right now that is looking into these flaws and stuff that's going on.
Wow, yes. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. They're valid concerns. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Item number 3, approval of minutes from July 21st, 2021. Ms. Alcorta sent those by email. Did you all have a chance to look at those? Any concerns, any?
No, we can't make a motion though, right?
We can,
Okay.
unfortunately, we cannot, so we can go ahead and, I guess, table the item and then maybe come back for next meeting. Okay, ma'am. Item number 4, communication. Do we have any communication from Mr. McGee or your staff or anyone? No items at this time? Item number 5, staff reports. Any staff reports from City of Laredo Traffic Department? Nothing at this time. Item number 6, discussion and possible action of the following. Number 1, trucking issues in Laredo, congestion, parking, and safety. Mr. McGee?
I'm not sure it's something we should cover or not right
I
now.
was gonna
since-
mention
yeah,
that.
It's an action item also.
If
so.
I can make a recommendation, I think we can table the item because we're gonna have to do it again once
Yes,
we have
let's-
quorum. So why, go through the whole process if we're gonna look at it again? So if we can table the item, actually both, item number 1 and item number 2, we can table them and revisit them at our next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGee. Actually, and I believe that's basically, I'm just gonna go through it, but, yeah. item number-
Everything's gonna be tabled.
Everything's gonna be tabled, item number 7, item number 8, and item number 9, because of quorum, I'm sorry, the adjournment, no, but because of the lack of quorum, we cannot move forward with that, so,
I'm thinking out loud, is there anything we can get the people appointed and gotten through here and so we can fill up and not have so many,
We'll be working on that.
wow.
perfect, yes,
I mean, that's kinda disrespectful to us that make our time to be here. And gentlemen that came to visit with your time,
correct,
you know.
I agree. Any more comments from the committee? Mr. Puig?
No?
Mr.
Good.
Dickey?
No,
Mr.
sir.
Gonzalez?
No.
Okay, at this time, can't even,
much.
yeah.
I said too much
But,
already.
let's go ahead and adjourn the meeting, and we will communicate via email, Erica, for the next meeting. All right, thank you very much. Thank you all, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thank y'all very much.
I agree with you, Mr. Dickey. I think we need to get a good,
I mean,
at
come on,
least someone
you know,
who's-
come on. We offer